Imagine for a moment that everything you've been told about humanity's place in the universe is a carefully constructed illusion. From ancient cave paintings to government cover-ups, there are threads of evidence that suggest we have never been alone, and the truth is far stranger than science fiction ever dared to imagine. What if the beings we call gods, spirits, or demons were never divine at all, but visitors from the stars? And what if they've been interacting with us, warning us, maybe even controlling us for thousands of years? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear are 10 alien encounters so bizarre, so well documented, and so deeply unsettling that once you know them, you'll never look at the sky the same way again. And before we dive in, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, because here at Ancient Light we uncover the truths that history books refuse to teach you. Let's begin. One of the earliest and most disturbing accounts comes from 1561 in the skies over Nuremberg, Germany. Hundreds of terrified townspeople claimed to witness what they described as a celestial battle in the sky. Strange black crosses, long cylindrical shapes, and spherical objects clashed violently above the city, with bright flashes of light and thunderous noises shaking the ground. These weren't just vague rumors, they were recorded in a woodcut illustration published at the time, a literal snapshot of something utterly unexplainable. Was this a misunderstanding of a natural phenomenon, or were rival alien factions waging war in Earth's skies right above us? Fast forward to 1897, in Aurora, Texas, a strange airship was said to have crashed, leaving behind wreckage that seemed far ahead of human technology of the time. Locals even claimed to have discovered a body, small, frail, and not of this world, that was quietly buried in a nearby cemetery. The US government later dismissed the story as a hoax, but decades later, ground-penetrating radar confirmed an unmarked grave at the site. If this was just folklore, why was evidence quietly hidden instead of examined? And what secrets lie buried under the soil of Aurora? But encounters aren't always ancient. In 1961, Betty and Barney Hill became the first widely reported abductees in modern history. Driving through New Hampshire late at night, they were followed by a glowing craft that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Hours later, the couple realized they had lost track of time. Under hypnosis, both separately recalled being taken aboard the ship, subjected to examinations, and even shown a star map by their captors pointing to the Zeta Reticuli system. Skeptics tried to dismiss their account, yet astronomers later confirmed that the star system Betty described matched an actual location unknown to her at the time. Coincidence or undeniable proof that she saw something real? Then comes the infamous Rendlesham Forest incident of 1980. Britain's own Roswell. U.S. Air Force personnel stationed in Suffolk reported lights descending into the forest. Several men approached and described a triangular craft with strange markings etched along its sides. When one officer touched the craft, he received a flood of binary code into his mind. A sequence later decoded into a message that spoke of exploration and origin unknown. Even more chilling, their Geiger counters registered dangerously high levels of radiation at the site the next day. Official records brushed the matter aside, but the soldiers involved trained military men maintained their testimonies until their deaths. Not all encounters are with ships, some are faced. In 1977, a man named Travis Walton was working with a logging crew in Arizona when a blinding light struck him. His co-workers fled in terror, assuming he had been killed. 5 days later, Walton reappeared, disoriented, malnourished, and claiming to have been aboard an alien craft. His story of examination, sterile rooms, and beings both humanoid and insect-like sounded unbelievable. Yet polygraph tests, conducted on both Walton and his co-workers, strongly supported their claims. To this day, it remains one of the most credible abduction cases ever recorded. And then there's the chilling encounter of the Roswell UFO in Melbourne, Australia. In 1966, over 200 students and teachers witnessed a saucer-shaped object descend into a field before vanishing at impossible speed. Military personnel swarmed the area shortly after, silencing witnesses and seizing evidence. Why was such overwhelming testimony buried under a mountain of official denial? How could hundreds of children all fabricate the same event in broad daylight? But perhaps the most disturbing case comes from Brazil in 1996, known as the Wagner incident. Multiple townspeople claim to have seen strange, red-eyed creatures moving through the streets after a supposed crash. Local authorities and even firefighters were called to the scene, and several witnesses swore they saw military trucks removing bodies. A hospital worker later claimed that doctors were forced to perform emergency procedures on a being that was not human. And then, just like always, the official story changed, and evidence vanished. We can't ignore Roswell, New Mexico, 1947, the case that put UFOs on the map. While the U.S. Air Force insisted it was just a weather balloon, initial reports from military personnel themselves described metallic debris unlike anything seen before. Witnesses described strange hieroglyphic-like markings, and several claimed that bodies were recovered small, humanoid, and quickly transported away under secrecy. For decades, the story shifted, from weather balloon to spy balloon, but never to the truth. Why? Because what crashed in Roswell wasn't ours, and they knew the world wasn't ready to face it. Another terrifying encounter unfolded in Zimbabwe in 1994, when over 60 schoolchildren at the aerial school claimed a silver craft landed near their playground. The children described identical beings with large black eyes who communicated telepathically, warning of humanity's destructive path with the environment. These weren't confused kids. Their testimonies were consistent, emotional, and chillingly sincere. Psychologists who interviewed them decades later were struck by their unwavering consistency. Why would dozens of children across different ages and backgrounds invent the exact same story? And finally, we arrive at the most chilling encounter of all, the phenomenon at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago. 2006, airline employees, pilots, and passengers reported a great, disc-shaped craft hovering silently over the airport before shooting upward at impossible speed, leaving a perfect hole in the cloud cover. These were not random witnesses. These were trained professionals whose jobs depended on precise observation. Yet, despite dozens of corroborating testimonies, the FAA dismissed it as a weather phenomenon. If that's true, why have no similar weather events ever been documented before or since? From ancient battlefields in Germany to modern airports in America, these encounters form a disturbing pattern. Humanity has been watched, visited, and possibly manipulated for centuries. Governments dismiss, evidence vanishes, and witnesses are silenced, but the stories refuse to die. And maybe that's because deep down we already know the truth. We are not alone, and we never have been. The question is no longer whether alien encounters are real. The question is, what do they want with us? Before you click away, remember, history is rewritten by those who control it, but the truth can't stay buried forever. If you want to keep uncovering the mysteries they'd rather you never hear, make sure to subscribe to Ancient Light right now and share this video with someone who thinks we're alone. Because after hearing these 10 encounters, ask yourself, do you still believe that?